Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. And I know that that is sometimes a controversial thing to say. So I'm just acknowledging that it's Monday and that I am happy to be here on the Daily AI Show with Andy Halliday, my co host today. Brian is away. We think Karl might join us. We'll see. And hi to Greg in the chat. If you are listening afterwards and have time free at 10 a.m. on Eastern, 7 a.m. on Western time, come join us in the chat. We have a great I don't know, B story, C story. Sometimes it is the A story in the chat happening while we're also talking as well. The chat is on YouTube. And yeah, did I say? I said it was Monday, but it is January 5th. It is the first Monday in 2026. Andy, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm a little under the weather, but that's just one of the side effects of having a grandchild who lives in the households here at the ranch. And so he got a bad cold about a week ago, and so now I've got that going, and it made it very difficult to sleep last night.
Oh no. Yeah, I have been dog sitting and just came back to my apartment, and the difference in the light that filters into the house is like, oh, I need a sleep mask. I also had trouble sleeping. All right. So let's get to AI news. There's been a lot that happened over the weekend.
Yeah.
Hey Jen in the chat, great to see you as well. Andy, what is your big thing over the weekend that you want to
Well,
start with?
there was a lot of discussion about OpenAI plus Johnny Ives' AI device, codenamed Gumdrop, and it's going to be some information came out about it. There's an actual diagram on one of the newsletters that shows a pen-like device,
Mhm.
and it's going likely to have a it's going to I can't even speak. It's going to have a microphone, obviously, and a camera. So it's basically an input device, and you'll be able to use the camera to scan a page of your handwritten notes or a document and upload that to ChatGPT directly, and then talk about it with
Okay.
ChatGPT. So it's not going to have a screen. You won't interact with a screen, but it'll be an input device, both voice and images, and that's I think they kind of telegraphed that that's where they were going, a non-screen interface in order to distinguish it from the smartphones that can otherwise access ChatGPT in a similar way. Now, there's probably some secret sauce in there. They're working on it. It won't be launched until later this year or even into next year.
Mhm.
They're probably coming up with something that's clever that will make it even more interesting than just a microphone and a camera.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey B, great to see you in the chat as well. Good morning. Good morning. One of the things that I'm thinking as you say that is there's no screen, right? So what you're pointing at, do you know what you're pointing at, right? Like I'm just one of those people that if the nozzle on the bottle does not face where I think it should face because somebody did something at some point, I will totally hold the bottle and spray over there, right? Because I need some sort of visual reference for that to happen. But the other thing is, we are seeing more and more backlash against glasses that are obviously have cameras in them that can record.
Yeah.
And so it's unlikely that the general public will catch on quite as quickly to a pen sitting somewhere. Of course, if you hold it out, then
Yeah.
you're definitely recording someone. Um, really interesting that they're going for a form that seems to be on its way out in some ways. Certainly, lots of people are still drawing and using pens, but as we're moving into the voice context of 2026, I guess if I had a microphone, it could still hear you. That could be another voice function too. But interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, that they're intentionally no screen. All right. So one of the stories that I brought today is a continuation of a story that we've seen unfold since Meta brought in Mr. Wang, Alexander Wang, from Scale. When they adopted Scale, they acqui-hired Scale, and at that time we were like, wow, isn't the title that he is having formerly occupied by Jan LeCun, who we think is still there? And Jan LeCun was fairly quiet about that, felt like on his way out until recently. So he gave a interview to the Financial Times, and the summary says it was candid. It was a candid interview where he felt free to express himself. And following the $14 billion Scale deal, inexperienced and young Alexander Wang was just, it was a bridge too far, right? And it was actually a real signal in like the other direction, and maybe there had been some short signals about that, but this was a problem, right? And so he has moved on, and he's got his new company that he's working on, and he has been a world model proponent and a necessary thing. He's been one of the people saying LLMs can go only so far, and after that you need an understanding of how the world works. But this was kind of an interesting interview to sort of say the things we're like, really, this sounds confusing, right?
Well, he also alluded to the frictions and dysfunctions that have occurred as a result of those, turbulent times within Meta, and he predicted that, like many have left already, there will be others who will leave just because people want to work in a more certain and stable environment, one that's got solid leadership. And his implication is that it's not like that at Meta. And so other people, there's lots of wide ranging opportunities for people of talent, and they don't have to stay in one location. And the level of compensation that's being afforded to these, talented people is so high that you can drop your compensation in half and you're still going to be set for life. So,
right.
It's not like, I've got to stay here to get my maximum return on the thing. If it's ugly and toxic, and I've had that experience in my career, you're just looking for a way out.
Yeah. Well, and that mirrors some of what has sort of followed Zuckerberg's evolution of his businesses through time, right? I mean, he has kind of, since Facebook became his bank, essentially, he has had ideas that he wanted to move forward on, and that caused friction in his businesses. Kind of that's a story that has followed him all around, and clearly it just doesn't seem important enough to him to shift that. But I do think that is your point is really well taken, that if you're jumping to Meta because, look, this is an amazing treasure chest, we're going to be able to do amazing things, maybe only one of those statements is true, right? It is an amazing treasure chest, but you may not be in charge of doing amazing things, and if you are right now, you may not be next month. So
right.
We have a fun comment from Jeff about the pen. If it's a pen, you can write to it and it'll talk in your earphones. That would be amazing. I have seen pens that could understand your handwriting. So it wasn't looking at what you wrote, it was experiencing what you wrote, I guess.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So you can imagine that it could have an inertial gyro built into something that small that could sense the movement of your hand, and basically the pen becomes a recorder for the gesture in the hand, And that's
Mm-hmm.
what I mean when there's probably more than just a camera and and I like the idea, by the way, that Jeff's implying here, which is that it would have Bluetooth built into it, so
Right.
that any pair, and particularly, I enjoy using the AirPods Pro because of the tight integration with the Apple system. So,
Mm-hmm.
notifications and so on happen in those Bluetooth earbuds in a way that doesn't happen in other high quality earbuds.
Mm.
And similarly, because of the tight integration between the pen device and any set of earbuds and ChatGPT, you can see how they're kind of trying to weave that whole thing together. And Johnny Ives is bringing the system or organization that Apple represents, the fully comprehensive platform. He's bringing that to bear in the design.
So that you're right, and that is really interesting because we're going to have that with its tight integration with ChatGPT, but will you also have some sort of wrapper for Gemini, which is going to be the back end of Siri for a little while, right? Or if they even call it Siri anymore, but like they license Gemini technology as well.
Well, their deal is really a temporary approach. And
Okay.
I think they're compartmentalizing it, not only compartmentalizing that as a short-term, solution to the Siri problem, but they're also making sure that what they build around that proprietary model that Google is supplying is proprietary in its own right. So if they add any features to it,
Okay.
that's not backward compatible to Gemini. I don't think the Gemini deal for Apple is an indication that there's going to be a convergence of functionality and a collaboration between Google and Apple going forward. At least that's my impression of it.
Okay.
Hey,
Thank
Karl.
you. Yeah. Hey, Karl. Any thoughts about Gemini, Siri, Pen, any of those things? The pen between Johnny Ive and ChatGPT.
I don't know. I'm kind of like we haven't even seen it, so it's a lot of rumor and speculation on it. So I'm just gonna wait until something comes out to actually see that, because we see vaporware, and I've seen this from Apple before too, where people thought it was one thing and it's not, it's another. So I was like, okay.
Yeah. All right.
So let's stick with wearables here because
speaking of vaporware.
Yeah, speaking of vaporware, Karl's been letting us know about the vaporware or the implication of a new set of glasses that was announced, and that's the Pickle glasses. And they're astounding in their proposed features and functions, but questionable in terms of their ability to actually deliver that. Karl, go ahead. I know you've been watching Pickle carefully.
Yeah, it was so when I saw Pickle launch, and I just share the actual share my screen of it's a lot of back and forth, and I thought it was really interesting where how it was running. So before, while I get that up, I was thinking about I thought it was just another pair of glasses, right? Just another, it's another wearable. It's fine. It's no problems. But what really got me thinking about it was there is a response to it, and I don't know how I was just starting to read, and that response was really, really long. How this entire thing was made up, and even Grok's underneath, how Grok has or X has the this post or something isn't real, or there's community comments against it, so it's people are calling out it's not a real video, it's not a real story, or whatever it was. So it came about that way because this one person, I forgot his name, I think Jimmy Dowd or something like that wrote a really like, from what he says, he's been in the AR industry for a very, very long time, and there is absolutely no way that someone like this could do the features and the capabilities that Pickle could do. So absolutely no. Okay, so it says here your browser has lost connection to screen share audio. I don't even.
Okay.
It's there. Let me put it up. Hang on. Add to stage. There.
So this is Pickle. It's a pair of glasses, right? And so it's a 5-minute long video. You can kind of see.
Right. And they look kind of like ski glasses, right?
Yes. And honestly, I didn't even watch the 5-minute video because I was like, oh, okay. Because I sent the note to Andy. I'm like, hey, it's something I wasn't on the show. I'm like, something for you to take a look at. So there's this guy, Matthew Dowd. So he is grassroots VR populist zealot. Okay. And then he wrote this really, really long, like he has a beef.
It's a technical. It
was a very, very technical. Let's see here, update something. Okay, so I'm trying to find his like ridiculous. So I just saw. So he put out a challenge to
the CEO of Pickle, Daniel Park. Yeah.
Okay, here it is. Here's his extremely long. I have
and it's called Pickle Sliced and Diced, right?
Yes, of course it is.
Expose. Pickle expose sliced and diced.
I have no clue about AR and VR. Like, I don't know the tech behind it. So he's talking about things that I'm like, I'm assuming any VR AR pro would know exactly what he's talking about. The gist that I got was that the Meta Ray-Ban glasses doesn't even contain the capabilities that this CEO says that the Pickle can do. So apparently these pair of glasses are even way better than Meta's glasses, and can A, has better battery life, and B, weighs less.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like,
so it's like a spec. He's challenging the specifications that have been
Yes.
announced. And just to put it in context, Meta, it has, untold resources. This fellow, Daniel Park, it's questionable that he has any specific background and or the money to make this happen, because this is a startup that's only raised something on the order of $10 million. And so to be promising features and capabilities in a set of glasses that's forthcoming that blow away the competition in every measure is raising a lot of questions here. That's the overview of why we're talking about this.
So what happened was, he put out a challenge to the CEO. So Matthew said, you have an agreement that if this actually ships, with the right tech, that he'll pay for, I can't remember, he'll pay for, it's a ridiculous amount that he'll have to pay for, like all the shipping or all the actual first deliveries. And then, but the interesting thing is, so two parts of this. So this is Dowd. The Pickle CEO actually responded to it with this Pickle 1 fax demos in the road to Q2 2026. So he wrote all this response. I haven't even read it. Response to the Dowd's
challenge. Yeah.
And I saw from Dowd's post, really quickly going through it just then, that the CEO has accepted the challenge. And he's like, here, we are releasing an unedited video of a real prototype, blah, 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 blah. So it's an interesting drama that came up on X. So apparently this is real. After I thought it was not real. and then they're having a challenge. So we'll see by Q2 2026, there are a lot of pre-orders already of this.
Yes.
So I was like, does 0 to 60 want to pre-order this and take a look at what this thing can do? I don't know what this.
And
See,
what's the pre-order price, Karl?
$800.
Don't. Is it $300? $300?
No, it's $800.
Oh, so it'd be the same as
it's $799, I think.
It would be the same as a Meta glasses, right? Is that the price? Same price?
No, Meta wasn't. Maybe new Meta is $799, but I thought Meta was $5 coming down to like $3 or $4.
See, this is what happened, right? This is the note, the reader content. This is not a startup company. It doesn't exist. The only companies with this name is us. It was like, so this was put under his company, like under the post of the video of Pickle. And I was like, oh my God. So this is fake. And then down. So now he has his response. He signed the agreement. They're going to have, I don't know, I would say a pickle off on
That's interesting. I mean, is this really a deep fake startup, or is it a real product that's coming out? And it's maybe it's a DeepSeek V2, right? Something that was done by a sharp entrepreneur who figured out how to circumvent all of the other obstacles with some innovations. Who knows? We'll watch it. We'll be interested in seeing how it plays out.
Well, the fact that it's named Pickle, like my first response when you started to talk about this was, "Ooh, it's a pickle." Right?
Yeah.
Is it real or is it not real? We're all in a pickle trying to figure out what was happening with Pickle. But yes. My question for the two of you is that a valid strategy? Like, is the language that says, hey, this is an experimental thing, is it bad if you go into it knowing that you're just going to raise the money and and if you happen to get enough to produce this, yay? But this is a startup. This is like a method of getting money as a startup, right? Is it illegal?
Well, there's a potential for fraud if he's defrauding investors because he doesn't really have technology behind the scenes. But caveat emptor, people raising that level of money, presumably they are buying because they're investing because the team is high quality, or there's real stuff behind the scenes that have been disclosed to investors that are compelling.
All right.
His response, I'm just quickly going through it here, right? Because one of the things was so the big one, I love this. His very first thing is one is not vaporware. I was like, okay, that's something. So apparently this is, I think the comment was, because you know how the Meta Ray-Ban glasses records video, like that's a big piece of it. He says, no, it's not. We do not record. We only provide vision context to AI. So doesn't capture POV video. There's only two ways to show film from behind the glass or recreate the experience with CGI, which is an interesting, it'd be interesting thing to look at, right? So glass for
because sorry, but do you need to be wearing the Meta glasses in order to record your experience in the Pickle glasses?
Well, what I'm thinking is like the only way you can record video is to put a camera through the lens and record. Like, I guess that's low. I'm not quite sure. Like, I honestly don't know until I get both in my hand to use. And I'm not sure how I'm going to, like, would I spend $800 US to buy this? I don't think so. I don't know what the use would be, but it's a 12-hour battery life, which is, does that mean do I have to carry like a pack with me? I don't think so. What was cool with the Meta Ray-Ban glasses this weekend, during one of the football, like it was during the week, one of the quarterbacks, Brock Purdy from the 49ers, he was talking to another ex quarterback, Alex Smith, and they were, doing a demo of what they're doing during practice. And he was wearing a pair of Meta Ray-Ban glasses, which gave the audience a really cool insight into how they practice certain things. And so he was showing it and seeing it, and I thought that's a really cool way to get the audience involved in something that you need, like, people, unless you actually played and you actually are seeing it in practice, there's no way for the audience to see it. So it's a neat way to get the behind the like an actual perspective of the player when what they're looking at. I thought that was really neat, outside of a GoPro, but like just to see it from the person's eyes. I thought that was a really neat way to showcase that. And I feel like that will be in those kind of scenarios. I could see in the future, like, for example, in hockey, the refs having like a let's say a Meta Ray-Ban glasses with something over top to protect the eyes, so they can kind of like, you can see what they're looking at, right, in terms of like the play. And I can see different camera angles too, and I don't think it'll be long for like camera angles to be from a certain player perspective, because they already have certain players mic'd up.
Right.
So it won't be too long to have players like with a visor or something paid to the team. You have to wear these glasses or wear something so that people can see. And it'd just be interesting if those things get destroyed or not. But I can see it for baseball. I can see it for any sport, but I can see it for anything that you want to, an audience wants to see a POV view of someone doing. Especially those like stupid, like, have you seen the memes where like in Germany there's like the shopping cart contests where like two women like, push the shopping carts, who can get it into the stall the fastest or the best. It's like, if you see this, it's time to go to sleep. Like these really dumb competitions they have. So I was like, I'd love a Meta Ray-Ban glasses point of view from that.
Hey, so it looks like Pickle has provided a pretty satisfying counter argument to the position that was taken by Dowd.
Yes.
And now I'm really hopeful that somebody who's really expert in this area, who's built glasses like the Halliday glasses, will step in and say who's right? Which one of these is likely to be, given the tea here?
You know what would be the best outcome out of all of this is that Meta buys this before it even comes out. He's like, yeah, Meta.
Oh,
that would be so funny and still on point for what Meta is doing. He's like, yeah, we bought the glasses because we want to integrate it. That would be, so it never shows up.
Not integrate, just we bought the glasses because we don't want to compete. It's like limitless, right? Like we buy you because we think, because that's our equivalent of a fly swatter. Sorry, we're just really, we got it like that.
Yes.
I don't want to hear about it anymore. We bought it.
We bought it. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's like, that would be to me the most interesting thing, because there is a differentiation in terms of the technology, apparently, from whatever's talking about here. So I'm like, Meta's like, hey, you're buying these random companies, just buy this one. Like, this is in your sphere, right? This is, what you're have. Oh, by the way, nice transition. Have we talked about Jan LeCun's response to his article and stuff? Have we talked about that? You can talk about
we did. We opened with it. Do you have a particular comment?
No. I just thought it was just a nice tie back then to like, right? Because it seems that, Zuckerberg was mad that they fudged the results. So he essentially did like his own team. So he bought his own team. And now Jan LeCun, which we all kind of knew, is kind of mad. Or, well, not mad. I would just say he probably just thought that was dumb and left.
Ooh. So we have some chat conversation about the glasses. Coaches could coach via glasses. They could share plays, but you could also hack the glasses so players think they're seeing something, right? Like there's some, oh, come on, I am from New England, but if the glasses are possible to hack, the Patriots are thinking about it. Come at me. That's okay. I am willing to receive your your mail, your emails discussing this. All right. Cool. Do we Andy or Karl, do you have another story you want to talk about?
Yeah, I want to just pivot to a couple small things here. Joanna Dogan is a principal engineer at Google, and she had time over the holidays to play with a problem her team had been working on for Gemini as a coding assistant, and revealed that Anthropic's Claude Code generated her distributed agent orchestration system in an hour that her team had been working on as a problem for the last year. And so she posted this on X. And some additional details. She provided just 3 paragraphs of a description of what she was looking for. And she said in the X thread, she couldn't provide lots of detail because it's proprietary information within Google, right? You're not going to provide the product specs for their agent orchestration system for coding, but she just gave it more generalized direction. And her final comment was in that thread, Anthropic has done a great job building their harness, which is the coordinating system for the agents that execute the coding and testing and implementation. Says it's great to see this kind of progress, even if it's coming from a competitor. So I thought that was really interesting. And I increasingly have admiration for Anthropic. There's a couple other things that Anthropic has put forward as news. One is that they're planning on purchasing 1 million of the Google designed TPU V7 chips from Broadcom. And that's different from deciding to use TPUs in their architecture and renting them from one of the major data center providers. They're going to purchase those 1 million TPUs. So they're going to own their own data center infrastructure. So over the course of the next several years, there's going to be this emergence of data centers that are running the Anthropic platform using TPUs. That's the Google designed chips. And then there was one other thing about Anthropic. Oh, yeah. We've talked about MCP. And MCP is really the quite universal protocol for, inter-agent coordination, communication, etc. And some researchers from Shanghai AI Lab want to bring the same system to scientific work. So they've proposed a development that starts with MCP, but adds some features and functions to that protocol to become the science context protocol. And that would help multiple scientists around the world coordinate their efforts. And so what's missing in MCP, which is this tool access kind of system, is experimental metadata management and using a centralized hub to coordinate the collective effort, shall we say. Right. So MCP is typically a peer-to-peer process. Like, here's my computer, I need to connect to that one. I'm going to integrate, using MCP. Well, this would be a central hub that's coordinating, researchers around the world. And so it manages an experimental flow in the scientific method better than MCP alone does. But it's a leverage of MCP and the context of MCP to the scientific community. I thought that was interesting too.
That is very cool. And it goes along the stories of experiments being able to utilize AI, but also the kind of environment that AI is fostering, right? Because this isn't necessarily just AI, right? MCP isn't AI. It's a connection that makes it easier for AI to do what you want it to do, and very, very cool. Karl, do you have a news story that you want to talk about?
I think that's kind of that was the only ones that I've been really focused on. Like not really anything else.
Okay.
I have one last one then. And
I will. I'll do one, then we'll come to you.
okay, great.
It relates to what we talked about with Vishaan Lagoon, but we did not actually say this piece, which was Jan claimed Meta fudged benchmarks for Llama 4, which, again, benchmarks came out for Llama 4. This is not that surprising, but it is surprising to have it confirmed, right? And that was tied to Mark Zuckerberg losing confidence in the Gen AI organization, right? That was part of the problem. Andy, what do you got?
All right, so this is kind of cool. So one of the problems in training robots is, you want to give them either experience in the real world, or you want to give them a world model, or you want to give them videos of humans doing things that they can then imitate. But there's a gap in that insofar as what a computer program and an AI program can see is a bunch of pixels on a video. And so deconstructing that or decomposing that into objects and movements and so on is a part of progress toward a platform that can train robots with how things will actually happen in the real world. So a team of researchers at Stanford has developed a framework called Dream to Flow, which closes that robot training gap by teaching robots to think of the videos that they're being shown as imagined movement events and use that as a planning guide for the real world thing. So it's creating a mental movie construct for the robot. And then their platform has that mental dream or imaginary movement movie create something called 3D object flow. So that is the mathematical representation that captures how the object, not the actor in the movie, but like the human actor who's doing things to show the robot how to do it, but instead focuses on the object's movement through three-dimensional space, independent of whatever's impacting that object, right? And by focusing on the movement of the object rather than the movement of the actor, there's a shared object-centric trajectory that different robots can adapt to their own bodies. Mm-hmm. So it's a universal kind of training paradigm for this, and it gets rid of the visual noise in video that's, like always present there among the many, many pixels that are being showed there. So this will allow robotic training that bypasses the confusion of trying to look at a video and figure out what all those pixels mean. Rather, this sort of additional code takes the video and creates these object mapping processes there and uses that as the focus for the robotic training.
So that's really interesting. In some ways, it is coming back to what we were just talking about with the glasses and football. If as a robot you were able to parse not only the data of you in the world, but also the sensors in the world that is also feeding in, and that again is one of the reasons that even if AI does not improve beyond like immediately right now, the fact that the attention and computation ability is so much wider than what a human can pay attention to and think about in a given moment. We're already at that kind of place. That's really interesting, Andy. So, Karl, it will be the experience of the recycling bin that will be moving through space.
Well, we had that. Speaking of that, I think a couple months ago we were talking about how Brookfield was. I think they entered I can't remember who they entered a partnership with to train. I think it's OpenAI, maybe, to enable, or was it? I can't remember. I think it's Radiant. Actually, no, it wasn't OpenAI. It was one of the robotic companies to give them access to their assets to be able to train in space.
Right.
Which is, so it would only make sense, right, to give that kind of vision and, the space capability so robots know how to interact with the real world, right? So that would be I think it'd be an interesting play that more companies who have those type of assets can partner with said robotic companies to give the robots access to how to interact with their space.
And that actually, I remember thinking when you were talking about the story, that would be an awesome exchange, right? I could live somewhere that was subsidized because my living and my environment is going to be something that is used to train a robot. Well, that might be a personal privacy thing for me.
Yes.
But would I allow sensors in my space that could just deliver that context as part of training the robot, right? Like that could be a more privacy enabled thing. All right. Here we go. Brookfield and Carney have their hands on everything, says Proper Karl.
Well, funny enough, they actually have their hands on more things because they actually are entering the cloud business for AI. And I think, so I'm reading here from, I don't know what's Data Center Dynamics. Their program is called Radiant, and they're looking to bring down the cost of AI compute through this new company. And the offering would consist of full stack AI services that leverage Brookfield's access to infrastructure, including land, power, and data centers around the world. At the time, the company also said it would build AI factories based on NVIDIA DSX reference design to support Brookfield's sovereign AI programs. The cloud offering will be tied to the Brookfield Artificial Intelligence Fund, launched with a target of 10 billion of equity commitments, something. So they're going to have their own infrastructure to, I don't know if they're trying to compete with, maybe they'll try to become like an Amazon Web Services.
Well, that's what the conclusion was among analysts in the markets, because the announcement by Brookfield that they were going into the data center business, using their land and resources and their money at that scale, caused Amazon stock, which is highly dependent on AWS, Amazon Web Services revenues for profitability, it caused their stock to drop in response to that announcement. So investors are saying, somebody else jumping in there is going to take away share from AWS.
Although, it'll be interesting because this isn't, Brookfield is asset management, right? They aren't do they have the knowledge and experience to build data centers? They have the knowledge of and experience to acquire land and assets, but do they have it to actually provide compute to whoever?
Yeah, apparently, and 10 billion will buy you some expertise. That's for sure.
So they're developing data centers in France, Qatar, and Sweden. And yeah, I don't know where else they would be planning to build this.
So it's interesting. And we are not a just in time all news show. We're an AI news show. But I'm curious how what is happening in terms of the way that the US is acting in the world right now is also impacting, like, hey, are we diversifying outside of the US as an intentional strategy to move forward? And there is a little bit of an AI angle in that, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, sorry. The U.S. bombed Venezuela and obtained, let's say obtained as word, Maduro and his wife, and brought them to the U.S. Supposedly to be tried. Now, the AI angle on that story is a bunch of what came out about that was either AI generated video based on an image, right, of Maduro, but the movement that was happening was not a part of a video when you saw what the other videos were. There was also AI enhancement of videos. So, like, you could compare a video that was shown in a bunch of places and you can see it somewhere else where it's like much louder and there are many more explosions happening.
Yeah.
And I feel like we are moving into this place where because we also saw it when the U.S. bombed Iran. In the U.S., we did not have a lot of video of that right away. So a bunch of what people saw right away was AI generated, again, in this kind of way, something to feed the algorithm of people looking for it.
Okay, so it immediately got me to thinking, if Putin was smart, which he pretty much is, and you know how there was a lot of disruption, I think, in the 2020 election or 2016, whatever election, right? They found out that there was a lot of like Russian fed into social media, whatever. I was like, there are still so many people who will believe the first thing that you see on whatever platform you're on, right? Like now more than ever, you have to just do a double take on, like, is what I'm seeing actually real? Just because AI is so good at everything, right? So it wouldn't be too hard to just blast the United States with so many different AI type videos that you don't have to be so far removed from reality. It's just tiny differences. And right, because like on CNN right now, I could see there's a helicopter shot of Maduro being let off the helicopter. I was like, I'm sure all of us can probably prompt in a way that image.
Well, that is one of the things. It used to be, and by used to be, I mean maybe a week and a half ago, like very recently used to be, that one of the ways that you would do fact checking to see whether what you were getting from video was AI or not was that you could see that there were multi-angle videos. So clearly it seemed like there were more people who saw this event than the initial thing. But that's something you can prompt for now. Like literally the new video models can give you multiple angles.
I think although the other way of that would be UCG, like there has to be a flood of them from accounts that are not 10 followers, right? Like, so if you got like one angle from one person, another angle, and if you piece it together, they're all consistent, then it's like, oh, that kind of makes sense. The same, what the person was wearing is this, like, but you can't just take the first thing you see as like, because there was the shot of Maduro in the helicopter with the headphones and the goggles, or the blackout goggles, and handing a water, right? I was like, that's probably real, but I don't know. because I
Right.
see it on X and I'm like, yeah, I don't know if that's real. And then multiple people posted it, and then I'm like, oh, okay, like maybe it is. Then once people started doing the memes of like him as a DJ with it, I
Yeah.
was like, okay, that seems legit.
Well,
So yeah,
right. And Garrett's saying they have become moms and all of her friends AI video checker. And I'm sure many people who are listening and perhaps in the show are also their communities like, hey, did this actually happen? I know there are times that we do that in our community, in the DOS Slack and the DOS community Slack. Like, hey, did everybody else see this? What's your take on
yeah.
that? Right.
One thing to check for if it is AI video or not, because most people won't prompt this, and a really good photographers do is foreground. So if you have most videos or images do not have foreground. They're just have whatever it is. So if you see foreground, if you see something that has like a little rock in front of it or something like that, that's a good way. That's another good way to tell, just because people don't prompt foreground,
Right.
but people do create foreground, like well done videos, or sometimes it's just an accident. People clip the something off something else, like their finger or
Right.
whatever. That's foreground. So
Right.
it's interesting. Yeah, like that would be one way to kind of tell. But even then, people could fake that too.
So there was a BBC reporter, I believe, who I was seeing on Blue Sky, and I will post the link in the community Slack because I want to give him credit. But he was going through, and there are a couple things that you could see in these. One was sort of old school deep fake or old school repurposing. Yes, the pulling down of Maduro's poster on a building happened, but that actually wasn't this, right? That's a real video from before that has been repurposed to make it seem like that was happening as a comment of what was happening in Venezuela today. But what I thought was interesting, if we remember, Google actually puts little stuff in their AI generated videos, and you can check whether it's a video that's been generated by Google. And that was the source of knowing a bunch of these for that. So it's embedded. It doesn't affect the visual the same way that the Gemini logo affects images that are created with Nano Banana. The embed in the video is smaller, is more, I don't know, is more clever. But I thought it was interesting that this is one of the events that I think we're seeing the shift from being able to kind of tell when it's an AI video, and now maybe not being able to tell, right?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, old school deep fake, absolutely. Gareth is saying no emotion in the voice is the current easy way to tell, but that will be short-lived as well. Yes, it just means that they didn't prompt, because you can prompt for emotion as well.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else as we're about to wrap up and go? All right. Well, please come back and see us tomorrow. We would love to see you. We are the Daily AI Show. We do this every Monday through Friday. And so we'll be back January 6th with all the things that are happening between now and then. Andy, I hope you feel better and get some sleep. And Karl, I don't know what's happening in your world, but I hope it's slightly warmer, but not so warm that it's dangerous for you to do the things that you like to do in the cold.
No, it was the last 2 weeks where they had a lot of cold. It was weird because you got like -13, then up to 1, then in the same day, and then down to -13, and then down to -20. And now we're at, I don't know, -8, which is the normal right now. -5, -8 would be normal temperature. But yeah, who knows? For the next 2 months, it's going to be we're in deep cold, so
All right.
be fun.
All right. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Here we go.